Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is the Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell so you get a notification of when we released a new video. I'm sitting again today with Michael Porter.
Yeah.
Hello, Michael.
Morning, Robin.
End of a long week. You've presented 3 times on Insight, and that will be on the channel in due course for people to watch. But Michael, Villy had the perception that maybe we'd have a second delay on the budget. He's proved wrong, but not really, because it's still got to be voted through. So what did happen on Wednesday, and how should we view it?
Yeah, Robin, well, there was a budget, so we should be grateful for that. And there were a few changes from the one that was released in February. But, Robin, it's the same old thing with South African budgets. There were good elements, governments walking a tight path. I mean, obviously, they did put a VAT increase through of 0.5%, and there will be another 0.5% next year. Yeah. So sort of 1% as opposed to the 2%, and obviously spread over 2 years. On the flip side, to raise the extra money, they've increased, they haven't adjusted any of the brackets for fiscal drag, yes, which they had proposed in the previous budget. Okay. So there's zero adjustment, so that basically hits everybody who pays tax in terms of salary increases and things like that. On the expenditure side, Robin, yeah, it was a solid budget. I mean, they're not increasing social grants as much as they were previously, I suppose, to rein in a bit of spending. And overall, Robin, if you look at the budget deficit at sort of 4.5% or thereabouts, this is the second year in a row we've had a primary surplus. Mm-hmm. So that's your revenue, less expenditure before interest payments. Yes. Interest payments are quite a whack. Yes. But it's the second year in a row we've had a primary surplus, and they're budgeting for a primary surplus for the next couple of years. So that's all good. There wasn't anything particularly. They've allocated some money to infrastructure. I think it's 8% of GDP. It's too low. So we are moving in the right direction, but it's still not enough to probably get really things going. Yes. And then the DA obviously came out and said they're not going to vote for it again. Yes. And trying to pick through the budget and understand what's going on. I think the DA's concern is not so much around that per se. It's the lack of growth drivers in the budget that is not driving economic growth. And you can actually see this in government's own forecast, because if you look at the budget and you look at what government is forecasting for GDP growth for the next 3 years, it's 1.7. It's all below 2%. I can't remember the exact numbers, sorry. Yeah. But, here we're talking about accelerating growth and getting growth up to 3%. But the government doesn't believe it, because they're not budgeting 3% growth. Yeah. And if they did budget 3% growth, there would probably be a bit of skepticism. So on the one hand, you can say, well, government's being conservative, and, which makes the budget more credible. But on the other hand, where's the growth initiatives coming from? Where are they trying to stimulate growth and be a bit more aggressive? And I think the DA's concerns really come from the two sides in terms of cutting unnecessary spending, yes, and freeing up money to drive growth initiatives just by cutting out the waste. Yes. And as I was saying at Insight last night, maybe we need a Musk down here to come through our government with abandon and just cut, yes, without emotion, Yes. So I think that's the DA's one concern, and then the other concern is about where the sort of growth is coming from. But all in all, Robin, it actually wasn't. It's one of those budgets where the fiscal consolidation is there, the debt is peaking. Those are saying all the right things. There's no increase in funding, and there was actually some good news on the grey listing in the budget as well. There's 2 outstanding issues on the grey listing sort of to-do list, yes, and those are expected to be met by June. And so there's a good chance we come off the grey list by October. Yeah. So it's not guaranteed, because it's not our decision, but I think you've probably got to give the Reserve Bank and the powers that be credit for working through that and trying to address some of those concerns. So yeah, Robin, we always say a sort of solid budget. From the numbers point of view, it is a solid budget,
Mm.
but I think there's maybe that opportunity cost, the lost opportunity of being a little bit more aggressive, or coming through with some innovative ideas to actually really spur growth.
Yeah. So, Michael, the other thing that was quite well publicized after the first budget was the off microphone, on microphone spat between Enoch Gonangwana and Edward Kiswita, the SARS commissioner, and the off take was is that he basically said, if you give me more money, I can collect you more money. They've given them more money.
Yeah, Robin, I actually just saw one little stat that sort of popped up. Robin, I haven't been through the budget or the absolute fine detail yet, but we spend 2 billion rand a year on VIP protection, and we spend 3.5 billion rand a year on SARS. Now that doesn't seem right, does it?
It's because we've got so many VIPs, Michael.
Yeah, present company excluded.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, SARS is getting a little bit more money, and I suppose that is maybe a concession to that. And SARS is going to be, well, we can tell you now, everybody, SARS is going to be aggressive in collecting tax. So if you're pulling the wool over SARS's eyes, be prepared to be taken into a little white room and have gloves put on, and SARS is coming after you. So yeah, which is not a bad thing for every honest taxpayer out there. If they can collect tax that's due, tax rates should be falling in this country, So I think, yeah, that probably is a concession to SARS, and I think that they can do more to collect more tax.
Yeah. Awesome.
Which would be good. But yeah, Robin, I mean, the tax base still remains stretched. Obviously, the lack of brackets or bracket creep will hit the consumer a little bit hard. I mean, it's not that you pay. I think sometimes the press is a little bit it's not that you're going to pay more tax. Obviously, tax rates haven't gone up, but if you get a salary increase, it might push you into the higher bracket, but that's also a marginal thing. So you might be paying more tax, but obviously if you get a salary increase, you expect to pay more tax because you're earning more money.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the media is very disingenuous with the way they present those things.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, relative to last year, if there'd been adjustments for inflationary brackets, you are going to end up paying a little bit more tax. So at the margin, you're worse off, but if your salary stayed the same, you're not going to pay more tax.
Yeah, of course. It's just the net field effect.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you so much for giving us that insight. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.